Hey Flosstube, I am Rebecca. I am the Route 66 stitcher. This is Oscar. I am out on his catio, so this is his space, not mine. I'm just invading for the moment. It's been about, I want to say 2 months since my last Flosstube, which is really not much time for me. I usually take it out to about 3 months, but there you go. I do have some things going on at work that are going to necessitate me putting all of my stitching on the back burner, so to speak, for the foreseeable future. So decided while I had a moment to go ahead and get this done and catch you up on where I've been. Also exciting news, I have hit over 500 subscribers. I know that's not much, but that's 500 people more than I ever expected. So thank you very much. And I do have a couple giveaways to celebrate that a little later on. But let's get back to the stitching. And Oscar will either settle down or continue to be a menace in the background because that's how he rolls. All right, let's go with the fully finished items. And by fully finished, I mean all the way finished. I had a bit of a finish frenzy over the holiday break from work. If I have to pull out my sewing machine from the bad project closet, and now Fiona's here, the bad project closet, it necessitates, it's a process. It lives on the floor. I have to pull everything out. I have to set up everything, the ironing, but I have to set everything up. So if I'm going to finish, I'm going to make it worth my while to do all of that. So I have several things to show you on the fully finished side today. The first one that just basically required a frame that came in is the Blue Flower, Deep Woods. I showed you this as a stitching finish in November. Frame came in and I got this done. This is on Fox and Rabbit 40 count flannel flower using, I would say, the majority of the called for and some DMC conversions that were suggested by Janine McGowan. So that hangs right up here with Prairie Home. So that one is finished. I also got the Mojo Stitches Take Wing Bushland Quaker number 2 framed over the break. This frame came from the Ozark Stitchers Anna Williamson. She's probably the lead person on the Ozark Stitchers, and this is from her mother's estate. Buffed it up a little bit, and that went in there. And this is on 46 count Mellow Stone by Atomic Ranch, and it's using mainly called for and some DMC conversions that were suggested, not my own. And thank you to everybody that really did help me out with those herons or cranes, whatever those birds are. The white wasn't really showing up, and getting your feedback on some of that back stitching was great. So thank you for that. So that is 2 more finishes that I have done. Don't step on those. Thank you. All right. What else did I finish in the frenzy? I finished Autumn Trunktown. Excuse me. It's Trunktown Autumn by the Blue Flower. That came from the Be Stitch Me Finishing School number 2 retreat. Finished all of the stitching. I think I was almost done stitching this the last time you saw it, because I did actually sit down and do the finish on the top, put it together as the drum over Thanksgiving. So that is finished. These are Puccini pins that came with the kit. I did not do the suggested finishing. Janine really likes to try to make it easy for people. So she had done back stitching, so you around the top, the bottom, and the side, so you could put it together, sort of like lace it together with a whip stitch like a Biscornu, all of the parts. And I chose not to do that. So my second drum is not as lopsided as the last drum, but this one didn't have to be shoved in my suitcase to make it home either. That's always going to be my excuse. I'm sticking to it. This is a great Great, cute pattern. This is this is on 32 count linen, so this came with the kit, which means it's bigger than my normal 40 count stuff. But she looks fantastic. And she lives back there. All right. Another thing that I finished for the Jingle Ball was Annie B's Pear Class. And I own, I want to say 2 or 3 different pear patterns from her. And I decided to take her class at the Jingle Ball. And I did 3 of the 4 patterns that she sent. I finished them with some wool that I had. And I tried herringbones. I tried little feather stitches. I tried whatever zigzag thing it was I made up there. These actually, I like the Jingle Ball classes because I could go back and watch the videos. All the classes are available via video for 30 days after, and allowed me to sit down and really think about these as they came together. One of the things that I was having a problem with, I just used some fabric that I had in stash. One of the problems I was having, they're finished on the bottom with same wool that I used for the top, is they don't set, I certainly can't show you on my hand because it's not level, but they don't set level. They kind of weeble wobble because this is not a solid base. So, and given my propensity to overstuff things, it really did make them weeble wobble. I don't know if you can see that curvature on the bottom. Yeah, so they wobble, but they don't fall over. So I tried to fix that on this one, the Noel, is I took a piece of cardboard and, foam board, thicker, and put it under in a little triangle to make it level. I just stuck it in there, cut it to size, stuck it in there, and just sewed over the wool as I did for the other ones. And that actually made it a lot more level to stand. And quite honestly, what was wrong there was this was way further down on the curve than this. So it looks haphazard. It's a haphazard piece of fruit. But it's all been a learning process, and I feel more comfortable and confident going into the other pairs. So those are my 3 pairs from the Jingle Ball class that I have finished. I also have finished, since I had to pull the sewing machine out, I finished a lot of other, I dropped something on the floor there. I finished stitching this in the last one, Big Folk, by Plum Street Samplers. And this was done using some of the called for and some of the DMC conversions that were provided. And I just put it together in a very long little pillow. This is on 40 count. And I can't remember what the fabric is right now. Just used fabric that I had in stock. It's kind of lumpy because I haven't actually massaged all the lumps out of it yet. But that's how that turned out. And they're cute little bats. Mama, Daddy, and the baby. So cute. And then I finished, you'd seen the stitching finish of Tropic Troupe by Plum Street Samplers, another animal stack as well. And I finished that one with some basic fabric I had in stash and some leftover trim. I think this is Brick by Lady Dot Creates. And I had to change the color on the baby. The baby's supposed to be white, but you couldn't see it on the fabric. So I changed the color to a grayish ecru color. And I think my favorite part's actually these fish. So those are all of my finished pieces. I also, like every year, this is a new start and a finish because I participated in the Modern Folk Embroidery, Roxy Floss Co., Evertote Advent Calendar. And here are the flosses and our ornament for that. These are fantastic. Turned out great. This is on 40 count vanilla custard by Roxy Floss Co., using those supplied flosses. I believe it's called, no, Take Flight is Mojo Stitches. I'm sorry, I don't remember what Jacob called the pattern. Jacob was really quite generous this time around. I think we got 3 or 4 additional patterns in the box, along with 2 or 3 different alphabets, which was extraordinarily generous. And that's all I have for my finishes going into this next part. I'm going to start with my whips, quite honestly, and then I'll go into my new starts. So, goes up there. I just need to reshuffle some stuff. My oldest whip, as maybe done sometime in my lifetime, is this Advent Trilogy set number 2 from Mill Hill. And I got another, woohoo! I got another square done. Yeah. Only one more square to go. So, yeah, that was exciting. And that's my oldest whip. That's been hanging around for at least 2.5 years at this point in time. Next up is the Seasons of the Heart of the Mountains by the Blue Flower. I've been stitching on this for a while. It's Rocky Mountains stitch. I am using pretty much called for and some DMC conversions as needed. And this is where I have gotten to at this point. I am doing this on 40 count River Rock by Forbidden Fiber. It's got a nice little purpley blue base to it. And it's coming along. This is actually, it's an easy, fun stitch when I remember to pull it out. And that's not a long-term whip. I think I started this in 2025, so it hasn't been around for forever and ever, amen. The next one, of course, is my long dog, Rollo de Rene, or Rollo the Reindeer, and I have finished Rollo. This is on 36 count Midnight Tryst by Fabrics by Stephanie. I am finished with him. I finished the dog a while back. And I have started all of this. All of this is antler and all solid white. So I've started outlining the white for the antlers so I can just basically go and fill rather than having to worry about counting. So Rollo is coming along. I believe this was a Christmas start at 2024, so I'd really like to spend some time on this one and get this done this year. Not because I'm tired of looking at it, but I'm getting tired of looking at it. Yeah, oh, yeah. Stitching this with B5200 Floche. I love Floche. Love the coverage that you have on this. 36, even on a dark color with single strand. So that's turned out really nice. And then I have Griffins of the Kingdom, The Wee Beasties by Karen Klupa or Rosewood Manor. The last time you saw this in November, I was just getting to the bottom row of Beasties and wanting to finish that up. I have finished the Beasties, and I am now starting on the metallics. And the Beasties, of course, are 310, and the metallics are Petite Treasure Braid. I'm using black gold and what's called midnight blue, so a more subtle look than bright shiny metallics. 70% of the metallic stitching is here in this lower part. Markup tells me that I'm 90% done, so it shouldn't take long to finish the rest of this up, except metallics, right? Metallics are metallics, and even though it's not DMC, it is the Treasure Braid, because it's a 46 count fabric. It's slow going, and I found that I had to not only shorten my lengths even shorter than I would for a metallic, but I actually, in order to get the hole to not drag, especially when a shared hole with something else, especially another metallic going through there, I'm using a size 16 needle in order to facilitate that process. And it just feels weird to me. I stitch with a 26-28 almost exclusively, so it just feels like I'm stitching with a 200-pound log. Not gonna lie, it's really off-putting, and I know that's just, quite honestly, that's probably just psychosomatic. More so than anything else. Another whip that I have is, put it up here, is Starry Night by the Blue Flower. This is stitched on 40 count XjuDesigns, and basically just using whatever I had in stash. This is Witch's Brew. Sorry, didn't tell you the name. And basically just have a whole bunch of stars and the rest of the quote to finish. This is the bottom. You just need to come up with the quote and then put in the stars, and this one will be a finish. This really shouldn't take too much longer to bang out. And I'm doing this with basically the DMC conversion. And maybe a couple that I had in stash. And then I think the last whip is the Blue Flower Winter Woods Biscornu from the Jingle Ball. And this was kit, I scored a kit. So I have all of the called for flosses for it. And I've been working little by little on it, and it's on 32 count Pistachio by Fiber on a Whim. And there we are. This is not the end. This still comes down further. This is going to be world's biggest Biscornu by the time it's finished. Yeah, it's huge. It's going to be massive. So there's a lot of stitching in this. So that's not going to be done anytime soon. I would like to get it done this year, but who knows. All right. Up next, let's go to the new start, shall we? I do have a new start from the Jingle Ball, and that is Winter Moth by Janine McGowan. It was an exclusive at the Jingle Ball. I picked up the thread pack, the silks pack actually, from Gloriana. I thought it was a great deal. They sent you the thread just for the pattern. I think this is great for companies to do if people want to try their product but don't want to spend a ton of money, whether they don't know if they would want to use them or quite honestly can't afford to. So I think that was a great option, and thank you to Gloriana for doing that. And I am stitching it on Jingle All the Way by Lapin Loops. And again, I am just like Rolo de Ren, the reindeer. The moth itself is white around a whole bunch of little color motifs. So I'm doing the color motifs first. So all I have to do is fill in the white. It's my first time using Lapin loops, and it's a really nice fabric. They did a really good job. The modeling's not overwhelming, pretty subtle in places. It's really nice. So there's a Winter Moth by the Blue Flower. Another thing that I am working on is, because I have finished my animal tower from Plum Street, I started another one that I had in my stash called Tortoise Tower by Plum Street, and this is back from 2023, so this is a newer one. And I pulled all of the fibers from stash, and I actually changed out, the blues and the pinks and the reds to Fiberlicious Yummy Fiber silks that I have. Seriously, this was a Silk of the Moth Club from May of 2022. So I've had these in the closet for a while, and then a Trenway silk that I've had in the closet for a while too, that I got as part of, I don't know how I got this, but it's a really nice silk to work with as well. So, and this is what Tortoise Tower looks like. This is on 40 count Parliament by Forbidden Fiber. I've got all the little tortii in there. Tortii, tortoises, not really sure. And I'm going to start the flowers. It's pretty. It's really cute. Another new start is, everybody who's been here for a while may remember my version of a tart finish. I picked this up at Galleria at Joseph's Woodshop store, a pop-up shop, and I finished this on a 46 count linen, and then I just mounted it with command strips so I could change it out when I wanted to. Well, I have finally circled back around to pulling out some more of these Jack's Sweet Shop series from Plum Street. And I pulled out Autumn Tart, and I pulled out the Autumn Tart. And Autumn Tart I'm doing with my own conversions and stuff I had in stash. And it's also on a 46 count natural. And that's where the kitten is sitting right now. And then for the Autumn Tart, I've made a haphazard start on this. Actually, it goes this way, sorry. This is on Candlelight, and this is the cat. It's its head, its foot, its rump end. This is the cat. I stopped stitching on this one, the Autumn Tart, because this one is also autumn. I don't need them both. And I think I like this one better than this one. So this may be, I may undo this project. This may not be moving forward. So, don't need to be changing the chart tin daily. I have this as well. This is part of the same series, Jack's Sweet Shop, Merry Friends, the Christmas version with the Santa on the ice skates. This particular pattern is 11 stitches rounder than the others that fit with the 46 count this might be a tight fit without really doing some work on the redoing that pattern. And then, sorry, didn't get this one out. This is Mojo Stitches. This is Bushland Quaker Series 1. So the Take Wing was Series 2. This is Bushland Quaker Series 1. This is also on 46 Moon Count by Atomic Ranch, using the called for fibers because I had most of them. Because there's a lot of crosstalk between Bushland Quaker 2 and this particular pattern. So I've started on this one as the companion piece. So that's a new start as well. And then I have, let's see, one more. This is Dirty Annie's Live Dirty. This came out at Nashville, it's Needlework Market last year. And I am stitching this on, I am not sure. I found this fabric at the quilter station and I was like, that's perfect. It's kind of what I'm looking for. They told me it wasn't for cross stitch, that it was for rug hooking. I was like, okay. It looks like 8 to me, so I'm going to assume that I can stitch on it. And here's the start that I have. It's in timeout right now. There's something wrong. There's something wrong in here. And I don't know at this point if it would be easier just to pull it all out and start over, or to try to figure out where I went wrong. So it sits while I do nothing with it, just in case. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. So there we go. Haul. My haul that I have was the Advent box from Modern Folk Embroidery, Roxy, Flosstube, and Evertote. They really do need to come up with some kind of acronym for that, because that's a lot to say every single time. Like I said, I do have some giveaways. If anybody's interested, please, you must be over 18 to enter. Please don't use the word giveaway, free. You know all the rules. Please just don't do all of the things that will attract people that are going to make my life miserable. So please don't do that. I get enough of that at work. So I do have a couple things. I received this. I had another Advent box that I subscribed to, and I received as one of the gifts in that Advent box, Mary Mary by Mirabilia. And this is Nora Corbett, of course, for Mirabilia. And she's a beautiful little Christmas fairy. And I don't do pretty ladies. I like looking at them. I love watching other people stitch them and seeing their progress and come together. I'm just not drawn to stitch them myself. So Mary Mary, if you would like Mary, please just use the number 1 in your comment, and I will make sure to get that out to you at the next Flosstube. Which, if y'all comment and make me have to do these more frequently, that would be great. Might put some pep in my step. The next one I have is Ladybug Picnic. Ladybug Picnic by Hands On Design was a Nashville release last year, 2025. I was honored to be asked by Color and Cotton to model stitch this for their shop using their conversions. And I have not only the pattern, but I also have their fabric. It's 32 count Belfast linen, and it is in iced watermelon, and there is absolutely enough to do this pattern again. So if you would like Ladybug Picnic with the fabric please let me know by commenting number 2, and I will just use the random gift picture picker that's in YouTube. Anyways, well, it looks like Oscar Beelzebub Fat Bastard Bowden stayed for the entire thing and was actually very well behaved, so belying his name for once. It's been my absolute pleasure to meet with you again today. Thank you for subscribing and liking and your comments. I do appreciate every single one of them, and that's all I have for now. Bye.